Hello, this is Grant Hughes of Grant Hughes Investigates on YouTube. Today's video is regarding the murders of Abigail Williams and Liberty German that took place on February 13th, 2017 at the Monon High Bridge in Delphi, Indiana between 2:30 and 3:30. This is a shortened version of yesterday's video where I discuss how Richard Allen is not telling the truth when in October of 2022, I believe it was October 13th, said that he was at the trails between noon and 1:30. Now, I previously said that the Odin document, the 130-page document of craziness, didn't mention the three girls. While it didn't say three girls, it mentioned the names of the three girls on page 118 in sort of they just sort of snuck it in, referring to maybe that's who they saw too. Okay, we'll go over that at the end here. But I feel like they just slipped it in there at the end. It had no relevance to the timing of Richard Allen. It was just that they may have seen the same person that Betsy Blair saw. Okay, that's all. That's the only reason they put it in there. So let's start off right here. It says Richard Allen voluntarily was interviewed on October 13, 2022. Watching the videotaped interview, it is apparent that Richard thought he was being asked questions to help assist the police in solving the crime. In trying to provide Liggett and Mullen a timeline of when he was at the trail, Richard stated he arrived at the trail around noon. Later in the interview, Richard Allen told Liggett and Mullen that he probably left the trail around 1:30. All right, now this is different than what he told the conservation officer back in 2017. Through statements and photographs of the juvenile females and the statement of Betsy Blair, RV, BW, and AS were at the southeast edge of the trail at 12:43 p.m., east of the Freedom Bridge. So what that means is that those three girls were right here. Here's the bridge. Here's the Monon High Bridge. And the girls at 12:43 were right here. The three girls that were walking the trails. They took a photograph right there at 12:43. And they walked across the former railroad overpass over Old State Road 25 at 1:26 p.m. and before 1:46. So what they're saying is at 1:26 they were seen here, those three girls. So they walked from here, 12:43, and walked to one of these benches over here, either this bench or this bench, at 1:26, and then went over this bridge right here that goes over the Old State Road 25. So you go over the Freedom Bridge and then over this bridge, which went over the Old State Road 25, and that's when an individual named Betsy Blair was driving underneath and saw the three girls. There's actually four girls that were mentioned, but only three were interviewed. Perhaps one was too young. Betsy Blair's vehicle is seen on Hoosier Harvest Store video at 1:46 p.m. and leaving at 2:14, and she stated she only saw one adult male. RV, BW, AS, and Betsy Blair described the male in similar manners, wearing similar clothing, leading investigators to believe all four saw the same male individual. Now, here's what Richard Allen said on the statement that he made to Dan Doolin, the conservation officer. And here's a picture of Dan Doolin right here. So that's Dan Doolin. He's actually at the February, I think it's the 22nd major press conference. He's in the background there. Investigators reviewing prior tips encounter a tip narrative from an officer who interviewed Richard Allen in 2017. That narrative stated Mr. Allen was on the trail between 1:30 and 3:30. He parked at the old Farm Bureau building and walked to the new Freedom Bridge. While at the Freedom Bridge, he saw three females. He noted one was taller and had brown or black hair. He did not remember description, nor did he speak with them. He walked from the Freedom Bridge to the High Bridge. He did not see anybody, although he stated he was watching a stock ticker on his phone as he walked. He stated there were vehicles parked at the High Bridge trailhead, however, did not pay attention to them. He did not take any photos or video. Now, it'd be kind of interesting. I mean, when he was walking by, how did he look over and see vehicles parked there? You know, when he was walking on the trail, he turned to the left. Why would he be looking in that direction? It's kind of far back, you know, 60 yards, 70 yards, something like that. I guess we could take a look at it. So it'd be right here as he's walking. He looks over here and he could see that there was a couple cars, he claims. I think he might have seen those cars on the way back. So this is, in terms of yards, is 72 yards. And he's walking this direction, and somehow he looks over there and he says he saw 2 cars parked there. Hard to know if that's reality or not. I do admit, though, that time of year, there aren't a lot of leaves on the trees, so you might be able to see through. But it's kind of a strange memory to have that he remembers seeing a couple cars parked there. Now, he does say that he was looking at stock tickers. Now, if that's true, then his phone should ping off of a tower in that area. Amazingly, though, if you draw a line from the cell tower to Richard Allen's home, it goes right over the Monon High Bridge. How strange is that? So if you go up here, and the cell tower is right there. I actually did it already. There's a white line right there that goes all the way to Richard Allen's house. And if you follow the white line, it goes right over the center of the Monon High Bridge. So it's interesting, if there isn't another tower to triangulate, he could just claim that when his phone was pinging, and perhaps it did look at the stock tickers, that he was here if it helps him. But he could also claim he was at home on other pinging situations, right? I mean, look how crazy that is. So the arc would place him on the bridge. If he was right there, it'd be very consistent with being on the bridge when his phone pinged. Now, if there's any extra towers, they can use those to triangulate. One tower would actually work pretty good. If there was one over here, you could actually then pinpoint generally where they were. If there's a third, you could really dial that in. But there aren't a ton of cell towers in Delphi, Indiana. In an interview with Richard M. Allen, done on October 13, 2022, he again admits that he was in fact on the trails on February 13, 2017 and walked past 3 girls and continued on to the Monon High Bridge. He stated that he was physically on the bridge, and apparently even stated that he was on platform 1, according to the probable cause document. Betsy Blair saw an individual standing on platform 1, and the individual she saw, while she described him as younger with brown curly hair, she said that the individual in the Libby video, the bridge guy, as we've all called him, is the same person she saw. So I think it's more likely that her recollection of what he looked like is a little bit off. Okay, so we're going to get to that here in a minute. Richard Allen told investigators he was on the trail from 1:30 to 3:30 p.m. that day. Video from Hoosier Harvest Store shows a vehicle that matches the description of Richard Allen's vehicle passing at 1:27 p.m. towards the former CPS building. The clothing he told investigators he was wearing matched the clothing of the male in Victim 2's video. And by the way, it matches absolutely perfectly. And a vehicle matching the description of his 2016 Ford Focus is seen at around 2:10 p.m., 2:14, and 2:28 p.m. Now, these individuals are Betsy Blair and 2 other people driving by who saw a car backed in the same place. They just have slightly different descriptions. You know, PT Cruiser, 2016 Ford Focus. And that's just their memory of it. They weren't out there thinking, boy, I better look and try to remember what this car was. It's just a darker vehicle that was backed in there, and it was parked unusually. It would be strange that if there was a car parked there unusually, and then later, After that car left, another car parked back in there unusually. Through his own admissions, Richard Allen walked the trails and eventually hiked to the Monon High Bridge and walked out onto the Monon High Bridge. Now this next section here is regarding the 3 girls that were out there that Richard Allen himself said he passed, and this is what the 3 girls said. The male they encountered was walking from the Freedom Bridge. Well, that's exactly what Richard Allen said. He said he went to the Freedom Bridge, and right around that time he passed the 3 girls, and then he went on and continued to the Monon High Bridge. One of the 3 girls, identified as Anna Spath, described the male as an older man walking on the trails as they were leaving, and she described him as kind of creepy. In a text from Anna to Kyla Brunette, Anne described the man as wearing like blue jeans and like really light blue jacket. His hair was gray, maybe a little brown, and he did not really show his face. Investigators Steve Mullen and Brent Ingram interviewed Anna, and she described the male as wearing a blue jacket and light blue faded blue jeans. The jacket was a canvas duck-type jacket. Rayleigh Voorhees was also in the group of 4 girls, and she said that she said hi to the man, but he just glared at them. She recalled him being in all black and something covering his mouth. Riley recalled telling her sister that someone was in a grumpy mood. She went on to describe him as not very tall and bigger build. She said he was not bigger than 5'10". Rayleigh went on to say in an interview that he was wearing a black hoodie, black jeans, and black boots. She said that he had his hands in his pockets. All right, now all 3 of those girls saw the same individual. They just have a different memory of what they saw because they didn't know it was going to be important. There wasn't 3 different people walking by. They're pretty consistent, though. He's wearing dark clothing. All right, now if we take a look at this video right here, on the trails in the shade, he's pretty dark. This would be a pretty dark outfit. All right, and this is just something I put together. I think it's possible he was wearing this brown hat that he was wearing when he was playing pool, and that's on his head. He said he was wearing head covering, not a baseball cap. I think there's a hoodie bunched up behind him. This might be the hat on his head. This is Richard Allen standing while on a hiking trip with his wife, I believe, and you can see that he has very, very similar body structure. And I believe that this portion down here is not a fanny pack like people think. I think it's the tail of a shirt that's sticking out underneath, and there might even be something in the pockets. You can see that this hand here, his left hand, is in his jean pocket. His right hand is up higher, and that's why his shoulder is up higher, because he's actually holding something up under the jacket, which I think is likely a gun that he's propping up under the jacket. And we know now that law enforcement believes he hears a click. We've known this for years. Unfortunately, people have, they just didn't know that that existed, but we've been saying it on my channel for a long time, that there was a click sound, and he told the girls to go down the hill, and even Abby said, "Is that a gun? He's got a gun." Right? So that information lends us to believe that he's got a gun. So he's likely propping it up right there, and then he pulls it out, tells him to go down the hill. All right. Riley went on to say in an interview that he was wearing a black hoodie, black jeans, and black boots. She said that he had his hands in his pockets. And you definitely see him with his hands in his pockets in the video. So they all saw the same person. They just describe him differently based on their memory. Some people are better and some people aren't as good. Through the investigation, there were interviews done with 3 of the 4 girls that were on the trails that day. The girls observed a male on the trails on February 13th that matched the description of the male in the video by Liberty German. The 3 girls, identified as Rayleigh Voorhees, Brianna Wilbur, and Anna Spath, encountered the male near a bench east of the Freedom Bridge. The girls were on the trail and were walking towards the Freedom Bridge to go home. The male they encountered was walking from the Freedom Bridge towards the Monon High Bridge. One of the 3 girls, identified as Anna Spath, described the male as an older man walking on the trails as they were leaving, and she described him as kind of creepy. In a text from Anna, Kyla Brunette, Anna described the man is wearing like blue jeans, like really light blue jacket, and his hair was gray, maybe a little brown. So what we know now is the three girls were right here at 12:43 at the bridge, and they walked this direction, and they didn't see anybody else. They were walking. They stopped at a bench here, took another photograph, which is time-stamped at 1:26. You see Richard Allen's vehicle drive by here at 1:27, just like he told the conservation officer. He parks his car here at 1:30, 1:29 or so, gets out. Probably about 1:35, he makes it to the Freedom Bridge right here, and that's when he encounters the three girls. He himself admits that he sees the three girls as he enters the area, and the three girls say as they were leaving the area, they passed him. Now, unless you're to believe that there's three other girls out there that never came forward, and they saw Richard Allen, and then these three girls that we've been talking about saw a different individual that looked just like Richard Allen. If that's what you are expecting people to believe, do you find that that is reasonable? So let me know in the comments what you think about that. In this next segment, this is Betsy Blair. She advised she walked to the Monon High Bridge and observed a male matching the one from Victim 2's video. She described the male she saw as a white male wearing blue jeans and a blue jean jacket. She advised he was standing on the first platform of the Monon High Bridge, approximately 50 feet from her. She advised she turned around at the bridge and continued her walk. She advised that approximately halfway between the bridge and the parking area across from the Mears farm, she passed two girls walking towards Monon High Bridge. She advised she believes the girls were Abby and Libby. Video from Hoosier Harvest Store shows at 1:49 a white car matching Kelsey German's vehicle traveling away from the entrance across from the Mears farm. Betsy advised she finished her walk and saw no other adults other than the male on the bridge. Her vehicle is seen on Hoosier Harvest Store video at 2:14 p.m., leaving westbound from the trails. Betsy advised when she was leaving, she noted a vehicle was parked in an odd manner at the old Child Protective Service building. She said it was not odd for a vehicle to be parked there, but she noticed it because it was backed in. And then it says Betsy Blair was shown a picture of the Monon High Bridge, the man on the Monon High Bridge. So this is the still frame that they put out from Libby's video. Betsy Blair was shown a picture of the individual on the Monon High Bridge, and she says that it's the same individual that she witnessed on the trails and on the bridge. All right, so now we're going to go to what it said in the Odin document. It says on February 17, 2017, Betsy Blair met with State Police sketch artist Taylor D. Bryant and provided a description of the man she observed from 50 feet away on the Monon High Bridge. The same man that Liggett claimed in an affidavit was the killer. Betsy Blair told the sketch artist that the man Betsy observed was a white male, age 20, had brown curly hair, and a medium build. Okay, but keep in mind that she also said that the person in Libby's video is the person that she saw. So this right here is almost exactly what Betsy Blair would have done. Come right here, turn left, and it's kind of a shaky video, so I'm just going to scrub it all the way to the end. And so this is generally the area. This is exactly what it looked like. This is a month after the murders right here. And she would have been walking, and she would have came right to this area here, the start of the bridge. And she says that the person was standing on platform 1, which is right there, and it turns out that the start of the bridge right here is exactly 50 feet from platform 1. So she likely came to right here, and the person was standing on that platform. And then she turned around and went back the way she came. Probably walked to the Freedom Bridge, then turned around and then went back to where she parked her car. Okay, now right here, you can see a shot, again, of Bonnie. This is her husband right here. They were out here filming. And this is right at the start of the bridge where Betsy Blair turned around. Now look over there you'll see that platform 1 is there and there's people on it. Now, how clearly could you get a look at somebody's face over there 50 feet away? Now, in real life, there's no blur from the video or anything like that, but if they're standing over there and they're looking down at fish, is your memory going to be that great when you're not really thinking that you're going to see somebody? So she thinks she sees somebody that's younger with curly hair and so forth, but she ends up saying that it is the person that's in Libby's video, and in that video you can tell when you watch it that it's not some younger person. Okay, but that's what she remembered seeing. And you can see right here that I think it would be difficult for somebody 50 feet away and likely not facing you to see exactly what their face looked like, and their hair was curly, etc., etc., etc. My opinion is that that's just the memory she has, and it doesn't necessarily mean it's accurate because of how far away she was. However, she does say that the person she saw was the person in Libby's video, which matches exactly what Richard Allen himself said he was wearing. And the key to this video right here is to show that Richard Allen was there. He did get there at 1:30, and I think we've already proven that, because when you look up in the air here, again, 12:43, the girls are here. And then at 1:26, they took a picture on a bench over here. And as they were leaving, that's when they encountered Richard Allen, because he himself says he passed the same 3 girls on the way in. He saw them. So as he was coming in and they were leaving, which would have been after 1:26, obviously, he passed them, and he's heading this direction, and he goes to the Monon High Bridge. So therefore, the person that Betsy Blair sees is him. She just doesn't remember it clearly because she was 50 feet away, as I just showed you in that video. All right, so she said, oh, he had brown curly hair, medium build. All right. Then we go here. Investigators spoke with Sarah Carbaugh. Now, this is an individual that saw somebody, quote, muddy and bloody, who stated that she was traveling east on 300 North on February 13, 2022, and observed a male subject walking west on the north side of 300 North away from the Monon High Bridge. Sarah advised that the male subject was wearing a blue colored jacket and blue jeans and was muddy and bloody. She further stated that it appeared he had gotten into a fight. Investigators were able to determine from watching the video from the Hoosier Harvest Store that Sarah Carbaugh was traveling on CR 300 North at 3:57. So around that time, she saw an individual that, according to this, matches Richard Allen. All right. Now, what this defense is trying to state is that that's not what Carbaugh stated in the 2017 interview. They make sure to say that because had it changed later, they don't want to bring that up. Sarah Carbaugh then observes a man walking down 300 North with a blue jacket and jeans, and that he's muddy and bloody, as if he had just been in a fight. She has shown a picture of the man on the bridge, and she said that is the same man she observed walking on 300 North. So again, in this instance, Sarah was shown a picture of Libby's video, the bridge guy, so to speak. I can't stand the name bridge guy, by the way. What do you guys think about that? I mean, bridge guy is so unnefarious sounding. It's just insane, right? But anyways, it made it easy, I guess. She's shown a picture of the bridge guy, and she says that it's the same man she observed walking on 300 North. So now you have Betsy Blair and Sarah Carbaugh both saying that the bridge guy is the person that they saw. And let's go to the next one. Now, this is what it says in the memorandum, the 130-page memorandum. In 2017, she did not say these things. This did not prevent Liggett from affirming under oath that Sarah Carbaugh did say those things. In fact, what Sarah Carbaugh actually told Liggett in 2017 was that she observed a man walking down the road wearing a tan coat whose clothes were muddy. Nowhere did Carbaugh claim in 2017 that the man she observed was wearing a blue coat. Nowhere did Carbaugh claim in 2017 that the man she observed was wearing bloody clothes. All right, so that's what she says. But now if we go back to the video here and you look at it, see, I don't know if you can see it in that shot right, I think it's right there, right here. Notice how the brown that people called a fanny pack is literally flat against the leg, the right thigh there. So what this is showing is that that is actually a under, I don't know if it's a sweatshirt or something like that, maybe a zip-up sweatshirt underneath the blue jacket. And I think it's possible that after the murders, he took the blue jacket off and was walking with that as the tan jacket. Now, if you're curious what tan colors are, this is some of them right here. All right, so let's take a look at it. So you could say that maybe that's tan. Maybe that's what the person saw. That's what Sarah Carbaugh may have seen, was the tan under jacket that he has on in this image. I don't believe that that is a fanny pack. Now, so if it's a fanny pack and he isn't wearing anything tan under there, then that would cause a problem, right, for that one witness. But I actually think that Sarah Carbaugh is the least important witness that there is in the case, right? Nobody saw Richard Allen again after. So here's the thing. On the map, you can see that Richard Allen was standing here. And if you're one of Richard Allen's groupies, you might say that it's some other guy. But either way, the person that was standing here wasn't seen by anybody else again. There were other people that showed up there. I think Cheyenne was one of them, and some other people, and none of them saw the same individual. And the reason is because this individual that was standing here is the one that followed Abby and Libby across the bridge. I believe 100% that that was Richard Allen based on the timing. When he changed to noon to 1:30 in the October 13th, 2022 interview, it was because he knew at that point that that time frame was very important. So he changed it miraculously to just before the entire time frame that he gave back in 2017. The reason in 2017 he gave that information is he thought somebody was going to identify him. You got this video out there, they've got a voice, and he thought 100% he was going to be identified, so he just wanted to see what they had on him. So he said, yeah, I was there from 1:30 to 3:30, and he thought they were going to say, yeah, Richard, we've got a video of you. But they didn't say that. So for years, he just sat around waiting and waiting and waiting, withering away, looking somewhat like Gollum over the years with the stress that he had, wondering why he hasn't been arrested yet. And then once he's looked into and there's a search warrant, he changes the information to 12 to 1:30, which doesn't make any sense because the three girls, all you really have to do is look at right here. The three girls were here at 1:26 and they were leaving. Richard Allen's vehicle drives by, parks over here, backs in, he gets out, walks. He admits that after going over this bridge, he walked by three girls and they saw him. There aren't another set of three girls that just never came forward, everybody. Richard Allen is that person. Okay? He admits it. The girls saw him. He just changed his time in 2022 in October to because he was nervous about putting himself back into the timeline of the crime. All right, everybody, so thank you very much for watching. Let me know what you think in the comments. How does Richard Allen avoid this? Now, I did also want to show you that in the Odin document, I call it, the memorandum, they did mention the three girls. So I had forgotten that it was mentioned in there because it was mentioned in a way that had nothing to do with the timeline. All right, so what they're trying to say in here is that Betsy Blair, the guy with she observed somebody with curly hair from 50 feet away, and they take that as absolute reality, instead of realizing that she said that the person on the bridge in Libby's video is the person that she saw, she said it's because the man that Sarah Carbaugh observed on 300 North at 3:57 p.m. wasn't the same man that Betsy Blair saw on the bridge at 2 p.m. That's because Sarah Carbaugh says that the man is wearing a tan jacket, right? And so therefore it can't be the same person. It was a completely different man that had mud, not blood, on his clothing. Betsy Blair, remember Betsy Blair is the one that saw Richard Allen on platform 1. She saw a man, perhaps the same man that Rayleigh Voorhees, Bree Wilbur, and Anna Spath saw on the trail. Sarah Carbaugh observed completely different man. Okay, so that's the only mention of it, and you see how disingenuous that is? It doesn't say that Richard Allen saw Rayleigh Voorhees, Bree Wilbur, and Anna Spath. It doesn't say that at all. And it also doesn't say that they saw him coming in exactly matching the interview he gave with the conservation officer, Dan Doolin. All right, so that is where we're at here. Yes, it is mentioned on page 118, buried deep inside the Odin Memorandum. But it's mentioned in a way that has nothing to do with what's really relevant about it. And that's why they didn't do that. Okay? What you have to also think to yourself is, what else is the defense leaving out of their memorandum that makes Richard Allen look even more guilty? I'm sure there's way more information that they left out. You can see by the way they treated the 3 girls situation here that they're not being honest with the way they're presenting their information. All right? And, you know, they might make the same claim about the prosecution because of the way that Betsy Blair and Sarah Carbaugh have described at particular times the suspect that they saw. But another thing that was not mentioned was that how each person, Betsy Blair, Sarah Carbaugh, and the 3 girls, all said that it matched the person that they saw on the bridge in Libby's video. So that's it, everybody. Let me know what you think in the comments. I appreciate you watching. And as I always say, everybody, until next time, be safe out there.